Coaches. Blow the whistle, ay. Blow the whistle, ay. Blow the whistle, they can't hold a flame against you, ay. Blow the whistle, blow the whistle, ay. Blow the whistle, got the game, it ain't no issue, yeah. Blowing the whistle, I had enough with you, the championship, it is gone. Ain't listen to you, I can't give it to you, cause you don't know what I've been on. This is the Coaches Podcast.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Fantasy Coaches Podcast. I am your host once again, Coach Steve. We are back talking some more Dynasty today, guys. It's going to be a great show. As you can see, I am in the coach's office today. I am ready to rock and roll. And of course, I have my longtime friend here, Coach Jibbs. What is going on, brother?
Ain't much, dog. Just a little bit tired on this Monday. Wow, I can't believe it's already March. We got free agency basically this week, franchise tag deadline tomorrow. So, like, these teams are about to start getting their financial stuff in order. And this is basically, fuck me.
Excuse me. This is not a P-rated show.
And this is basically going to be, like, the start of our fantasy season because, like, we're going to know who these guys are signing, what their direction they're trying to go in the draft. And this is basically how we're going to build our 2023 outlook, obviously in Dynasty and redraft as the months go on.
Absolutely. And it's going to be a lot of fun. Obviously, we got 11 days until free agency officially underway, maybe 7 days when they can start tampering and whatnot. However they work that shit. But it's coming. So it's going to be a lot of fun in the next few weeks, especially with the podcast episodes and us talking. So today, guys, we are talking Dynasty Buys for the for the wide receiver and the tight end positions. Coach John could not be with us today. He's having some car issues, but he'll be back next week. Don't worry. So we'll get into the news first because there are news. A lot of things broke today, which was always fun to see because it gives us some more things to talk about. So let's start with the news. Derek Carr obviously is going to be signing a 4-year, $150 million contract with $100 million guaranteed to the New Orleans Saints. Jibbs, what is your reaction to this? Do you like this signing for fantasy?
I do like the signing. Like, the NFC South is just a mess, and just to be honest, like, they could put anybody in those 4 teams, and I would have been happy with their outlook for 2023. So, Derek Carr, like, obviously the Saints have a decent defense, better than the Raiders. So, like, maybe he could actually have some chances to kind of shine. And, like, that division is winnable. Like, I saw last year, it was basically a race to, 8 wins? So, like, if Derek Carr could just come in there, do his thing, don't throw up on himself, like, and become a 9-10 win team, I think the Saints did the right move, and they could be a playoff team. And we'll see how it goes because obviously, like, every year we talk about this, like, the Saints just be fiddling with the money, they find ways to make it, and then we'll be talking about them next year with the players they probably have to let go. But, like, hey, Saints, good job, you got yourself a quarterback better than Winston and Dalton experiment and Taysom Hill. So
yeah, no, it's definitely an upgrade. I wouldn't say it's a major upgrade or anything like that. Derek Carr has had his struggles of being mediocrity in fantasy or in the NFL as in general. He just really has not really took another level. He's kind of just that guy, but maybe a change of scenery is what is needed for Derek Carr. He is back with Dennis Allen, who was his head coach back in the early days of his NFL career. So maybe there's some spark to kind of get him going once again. I don't really think it changes Derek Carr's fantasy value all too much because I don't know if Michael Thomas is going to be there. I mean, I don't know if Alvin Kamara is going to be there. They have Chris Olave, which is great, but that's just one guy. So it'll be tough to see if Derek Carr can take another step. But for me, he's just kind of that high-end QB2 fantasy right now. I mean, that's kind of where I see him. Chris Olave gets a steady increase. I mean, he's got a more, consistent quarterback instead of older Andy Dalton and obviously Jameis Winston and how he is nowadays. So Chris Olave obviously wins this for sure. I don't know if Michael Thomas will be there. Jawan Johnson. I mean, he did love throwing to his tight ends back in Las Vegas. So maybe he gets another bump himself. But, this is what the Saints need to do to take the next step in their development here. And Derek Carr in general for fantasy, I feel like it was really tough to kind of understand where to put him in terms of how to buy and sell him right now. I mean, the last possible trades I've seen for him is 2 second-round picks. someone offered me a late to 11 for him, and I'm like, no, I'm going to hold him now. You might be able to maybe now get a late first round pick for him now, or maybe more of an early second round pick into that nature. His stats going to bump up right now. Is it a good time to sell him? Jibs, would you sell off of Derek Carr now?
If I had him on a roster, hey man, like the change of scenery is always good. So like if anyone's dying to have a quarterback in the super flex league, I don't see why not. If you have like at least like options.
Yeah.
But yeah, like why not? Like like you told us, like this guy's been mediocre. He's basically QB 12 to 15 like every year, no matter what. He'll have a good first half of the season, and then something crazy goes on in the second half, and it just seems like he never gonna have a full season. So like if you could get someone who has a perceived value that hey, like Derek Carr's gonna be awesome for the Saints, man, do it. I would.
Yeah, I mean, if you could pull off like a second round pick in this year's draft or a first next year or a first and a third for this year's draft, I mean, that's the kind of value I'm seeing for Derek Carr. I think personally, that's how I view him right now in terms of super flex leagues. Obviously, much lower in single QB, but yeah, definitely he takes a little bit of bump in terms of his trade value, but I don't think his overall fantasy value is going to change. But now that he has a team and people might be buying into him being on the Saints now, it's a good time to sell high on him. All right. Calvin Ridley is back. That's all you need to know about Calvin
Pete
Ridley.
Rose.
He is back on the field. He got reinstated by the NFL. Good for him. And then, of course, we have three players that were tagged today. Tony Pollard with the Dallas Cowboys, Evan Ingram with the Jacksonville Jaguars, and Josh Jacobs tagged with the Las Vegas Raiders. I mean, I don't really know what to say about them. None of them obviously signed it yet. They all could be looking for long-term deals. Maybe they could still get traded. I don't know. Is there anything you want to say about these tags, Jibs, offhand?
Oh no, these are basically what we were assuming that these teams would do during the offseason. Like I know that Josh Jacobs and the Raiders didn't really have like the prettiest ending in 2023, and he wants out. I'm sure the Raiders want him out, but like obviously there's financial implications for it, and they don't want him just to get away for free. So like I can see a trade going along with that. Evan Ingram was a great piece of that offense. They're probably trying to keep it together as long as they can and run it back. And then Tony Pollard is simple, man. The guy was awesome last year. Zeke is pretty much washed up, so they don't want to let that guy loose either. But we'll see what these next week's tags brings, because I think that's when we're going to have more interesting conversations.
Yes, obviously, yeah, absolutely. The tag deadline does end tomorrow, so we'll see. Obviously, next week, like Jib said, if there's any more to discuss. I think it might be a reassurance for all these players at this point that they're going to be on a team in 2023. I mean, it could be a good time to start looking on to selling Josh Jacobs now that we know he's going to, well, we'll see, but likely play for the Raiders this coming year. And if they do sign an extension, he's going to be with that team. I think they're trying to do that. So it could be a good time to sell off on Josh Jacobs. I think using that value, what he did last year, and him being in the same situation, and likely to see a heavy workload once again, could be a good time to trade off of him. So
yeah, but before like summer time happens, and then he has to report to camp, and then we have a holdout situation, and that definitely will kind of deter his value too. So it's always good timing with it.
Yeah, you definitely want to take advantage of that, like Jibs just said. I like that, Jibs. I didn't even think in that sense of they could just not play. So it's better to get them off your team now and have to worry down the stretch. So, all right. So that is the end of the news, guys. Well, hopefully we're going to have a lot of news over the next few weeks, and it's going to be fantastic. But as of today, that is all we have for you. So we are going to get into our Dynasty buys for the wide receiver and the tight end positions. Obviously, me and Jibs have 3 wide receivers each and a tight end for you to buy this offseason, and obviously even before the free agency begins. So, Jibs, we can start with the wide receivers. Who is your first wide receiver you would like to buy?
This guy's name was dragged through the mud all last year. I would like to buy DJ Moore, and I know he had a tumultuous 2022 season, and I know before that season started, everyone was kind of in high hopes of what DJ Moore could do, and I think the value from the beginning of 2022 to the end of 2023 has taken a hit. I found it kind of funny that he finished top 24 in both PPR and standard leagues last year, because it felt like you were getting nothing from him on a week-to-week basis. I think he's 24th in PPR. He was 19th in standard league. So Dynasty is all about speculation, and I think the Carolina Panthers are definitely going to try to fix their quarterback problem. They're not going to go with that 3-man experiment they did last year. So, like, I know before the draft combine happened and whatnot, I could figure like maybe like Anthony Richardson would go there, but now his name just went boomed up over this weekend. So like maybe it's like a Will Levis, but anyway, I think like a prospect is better than what they had with Sam Darnold, with Baker Mayfield, and PJ Walker. So if I could get a chance to buy low on DJ Moore, who's basically he's like a wide receiver too for you. There's no competition there besides what Terrence Marshall, because the Panthers want to believe in them. But if I could get me some DJ Moore, and I don't know where the value is for him, like trade value wise, we'll probably get into that. But he's still a young asset. He's 25, probably going to be 26 this year, and the sky's the limit for him. Like I just know like I'm not going to chalk up last year because DJ Moore was bad. It was bad quarterback play. It was bad rhythm and all the timing and people going in and out. So I want to get some DJ Moore before his price goes back to where it was years prior.
Yeah, absolutely. So I do have a few trades for you here, Jibs. Would
No.
you give up? Huh?
No.
Would you give up your late 2023 first round pick for DJ Moore?
Late 2020
first.
I think I would.
Yeah, I think if you're in that later round, you're looking for wide receivers. I don't think a lot of these wide receivers are overly impressing. So if you want a sturdy veteran like DJ Moore is now, I mean, he's going to provide you with upside. The touchdowns, we don't know, but he's going to provide you with at least over probably 1,100 yards, more than likely to whoever throwing him the ball this coming season. Would you trade away Mari Cooper to get DJ Moore?
I actually
quarterback. I mean, he does have a big.
I would.
You would trade Amari Cooper? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I could see it. Absolutely. What about Christian Watson for DJ Moore? Would you rather have the young potential stud without maybe Aaron Rodgers, or would you rather have the reliable guy in DJ Moore?
I think I will stay with Moore. Aaron Rodgers not being there kind of scares me.
That is tough, honestly. I think that's like probably the toughest of the ones. I don't know. I guess it really depends on what you're trying to do. If you're looking for more consistency on your starting lineup, it's just hard. It's hard without Aaron Rodgers knowing what he's doing. That's the thing. But
I'll change my mind. I'll go with the younger guy. I'll keep my my branding right. Younger player.
I think I might keep DJ Moore just because I know he's gonna. I have just one season isn't gonna do it enough for me for Christian Watson to just do that. So. But yeah. All right. So that is DJ Moore with the first buy. Over to my side, guys. My first buy is going to be Gabriel Davis, my guy. I'm going to continue to stay on him all offseason again. Yes, I am going to do it. Gabriel Davis, I mean, yes, very, very disappointing. Obviously, just one game over 10 fantasy points over the last 7 games of the 2022 season. Very disappointing, obviously, but he's young. He's in a contract season here. I don't really see the Bills. I know we've talked about the Bills early in episodes, but I don't really see him. I don't really see the Bills going out there to acquire a big time number 2 guy to take over with Stephon Diggs. And I think this is a make or break year for Gabriel Davis, who's going to be going to free agency next year. He's going to probably want to show up as best he can. And I think, 49 receptions on, 93 targets, that has to get up a little bit better. I think there is more big play to his game this coming season here. I mean, I'll wait. I want to wait and see what they do with the running back position. If they really do bring in a big workload guy for it, who knows yet? We'll wait to see on that. But I think Gabriel Davis, what I'm seeing in the trade market for him right now, is someone I want to buy low on, and I think he still has that upside potential. It might not be as trustworthy as we saw last offseason and we were hoping for, but I still think there's some upside in his game. Some of the trades that I found is Nico Collins for Gabriel Davis. If I can get rid of Nico Collins, who I do like. For Gabriel Davis, I still would do that. You're getting the upside in a high-power offense. I love Nico Collins, but Gabriel Davis has that upside that I like. A 2023 second-round pick for Gabriel Davis, I'm still willing to do that. And if it's maybe the 1 or 2, maybe I won't. But like anything after 4 and the rest of that second round, I'm down to give up to get Gabriel Davis. I don't think this wide receiver class is going to be an elite class. for years to come. I think Gabriel Davis still has value that I like. Greg Dulcich from the tight end from the Denver Broncos. Yeah, I mean, unless I'm in a tight end Premier League, I mean, I still kind of want to have Gabriel Davis unless I was just completely shot at tight end. I had no backup plan, but I still think Gabriel Davis has that bigger upside than Greg Dulcich does in that Broncos offense. And then Aaron Rodgers. If I'm rebuilding or if I just have enough quarterbacks that I'm not really trying to hold on to, I'm happy to give up Aaron Rodgers for Gabriel Davis right now because I just don't know. You just don't know if he's going to play after the season. You don't know if he's going to even play this season. So I'm happy to give up Aaron Rodgers to get Gabriel Davis on my team right now. All right, Jibs, we are back over to you, my friend. Give us your second wide receiver.
You already mentioned him before, but it's Amari Cooper. And no matter what he does, I just feel like the fantasy community doesn't give him any flowers. 2022, he finished as a top 10 wide receiver in both standard and PPR leagues. And I think every fantasy manager, including myself, are lamenting the fact that this guy's production was obscenely wild. Like DJ Moore took the cake last year, but Cooper at least had like some consistency. Like his home and road splits on last year were like night and day. He had 18.2 points per game at home, and then his road performances dropped 7 points to 11.2 PPR points per game. So, dude, I think he did pretty well with Jacoby Brissett last year, and we saw him have some productivity with Deshaun Watson. So I'm kind of banking on 2023 Deshaun Watson finding his rhythm and his groove again. And given the fact that they have him and Donovan Peoples-Jones out there, I think they could probably put it together and kind of kick out like that old Cleveland Browns mentality of just running Nick Chubb into the dirt. I think they're actually going to have a passing offense next year. And if you could get Amari Cooper on the cheap, like a guy who's basically I wouldn't call him like, I know in years past he was probably like a high end wide receiver 1 or low end wide receiver 2. But if I could get a wide receiver 2 production, age 29, probably going into 2023 with a couple years left, you sign me up because like, especially if you're contending, I think like Amari Cooper is a person that can be overlooked, but I feel like his value isn't as high as like a stud receiver that you could probably have a comp to.
Okay, I mean, yeah, I like that one there a lot too. I think, especially for a contending team, it definitely would make sense to get a guy like Amari Cooper for sure. I love that I gave you a trade for both your buy
Yeah,
lows.
that's what I was laughing about. I was like, oh,
So I
wow.
won't ask you again because obviously it's one of the trades I do see. But would you give up 2 second-round picks to acquire Amari Cooper?
The way I hit on second-round picks, yeah.
Yes, I mean, hey, sometimes people just don't do that. I mean, people just don't know. You know, depends. The second rounds are hit or miss, and especially with wide
That's true.
receiver, could easily be hit or miss.
Like, I would
I
do
mean,
like a late second, an early second, and like say like a late second hypothetically.
yeah, I mean
Like scenario.
that makes sense. I mean, I even see it a second and a third. I mean, that's definitely
Sign me up.
exactly. What about a 2025 first? 2 years away, first round pick, Amari Cooper.
Nah, I wouldn't do that.
No, okay. I understand. Trying to see what else there is really here. I mean, nothing really for 101. I mean, would you give up Mac Jones in a Superflex league to acquire Amari Cooper? I mean, I guess you would have to have okay at quarterback to do so, but if you had a quality depth at quarterback, would you do that?
I would, because like even like given like Mac Jones, like I know like he's a quarterback now, but like there's not like any like concrete evidence in my heart saying that he could be a starter for the multiple years. Like Bill Belichick could get him out of town next year. All I care. All I know.
You might be able to get a second and Amari Cooper for like a guy like Mac Jones just because it's Superflex, maybe.
Yeah.
So you might be able to get actually more because people might want it. I mean, I'm not buying too much into Mac Jones. Please don't do that. But you might be able to get something a little extra added to that if you think you need it to acquire a guy like that. So, okay. Over to my second wide receiver. It's Alex Pierce from the Indianapolis Colts, wide receiver, second round pick last year's 2022 draft. He was pretty decent at times. He made some flash plays, wide receiver 33 from a certain stretch of the season here. He was productive at times. His second half didn't really, do that well, kind of struggled a little bit, unfortunately. But he did lead the team in targets 4 different times throughout the entire season here. So clearly at times they used him to be the main guy on the team. He was kind of more that field stretching type of wide receiver here. And we don't know who's going to play quarterback. For the Indianapolis Colts, well, we assume that it's going to be someone who's younger and can air the ball out downfield, hopefully, like a Levis or a CJ Stroud. So, which they both can do very well. So that is going to be a big bump, hopefully, for Alex Pierce coming into 2023 season here. And then you can get him relatively cheap, a 2024 second-round pick. I'm willing to do that for sure, especially if you know your team is starting to get to that next level. I saw trading away Keenan Allen and a 2024 second and getting Pierce with that. A total trading Allen and then acquiring Pierce with his 2024 second round pick. I'm willing to do that for sure, personally, especially if I'm rebuilding, because I don't know how many more years you're getting out of Keenan Allen, especially full 16 game seasons. I think we saw last year that, his early on injury career is probably going to catch up with him in his older age now. And I don't know if he starts 16 games or 17 games in another full season. So this could be really good to get a guy like Pierce, who I think has upside. And then Zay Jones for Alec Pierce. Absolutely do that. Zay Jones on a high end season, he did really well. Nothing against him, but with Calvin Ridley coming back and likely in an improved run game and, obviously everyone else coming back, I just don't see Zay Jones having that high target share again. Give me Alec Pierce, who they're losing Paris Campbell. And I don't really see anyone else in that receiving game besides Michael Pittman right now. So, and I doubt they go that route to get a third wide receiver in the draft. So I like Alec Pierce right now. So, all right, Jibs, back to your third and final wide receiver buy. Who you got?
I thought there was only two. No, I'm just kidding. Michael Thomas. Just kidding again. But obviously, I want to look into the Saints wide receivers. John was here. I was just gonna pat him on the back and say Chris Olave, because I will buy the moon for him. Because in my thought process, I think, this is before the news with Derek Carr. So I just believe that Michael Thomas will probably end up getting cut. And obviously that just opens the door for Chris Olave to become that 1A. And we saw him last year just put up good production, even by himself. If he could kind of continue that into 20.
Oh, I lost your volume there, Jibs. Nope. Well, while Jibs figures that out, guys, he mentioned, buy lows, but, these episodes here not particularly have to be buy lows. We just want players you want to buy. Even if you potentially want to, want to buy high now on a Chris Olave, do that, because he is going to be worth it for sure. And he's going to have good seasons coming down the road here. And I think Derek Carr can keep him alive. Jibs just left my chat, but that's okay. But yeah, he is going to be a producer in fantasy. And maybe you're buying as a first and second round pick for him, and there's still potential for him to even go higher than that. That's the definition on what we're talking about when it comes to buys, dynasty buys. Nope. Completely lost you there, Jibs. I don't know what else to do, my friend. I can put your mic up, maybe. Let's see. Want to say something now? Nope. Oh. I thought I heard you. Nope. Oh, 1 minute. Okay, I got you. Well, you take your time coming back. I will finish my third and final wide receiver buy. Nope. I have to buy a new headset, man. Might have to buy you a Christmas gift next year. Get you a headset. But while Jibs continues to figure that out, my third and final wide receiver buy, guys, is Kyle Phillips, the wide receiver from the Tennessee Titans. We see the Titans going through a change here, but it seems like Ryan Tannehill is going to be back with the team, which is going to be good for this wide receiver core. And obviously, if you haven't heard the recent news, that the Titans are trying to shop Derrick Henry. And that is showing me a sign that, yeah, they're going to want to try to throw the ball a little bit more, unless they really go out there and get, I can't think of his name, the guy from Texas. I don't know why he's playing a BJ Robinson at the 11th pick overall, which I seemingly doubt that's going to happen. But it could be a sign of they're trying to throw the ball more and become more of a passing offense here. Now, Kyle Phillips missed most of the season with an injury, and he's likely going to be the slot wide receiver. But in his first game, he had 6 receptions for 66 yards. He was on fire in that very first game of the season, and then he kind of got hurt and kind of missed the rest of the year. But he wasn't anyone particularly special coming out of the NFL draft. But I always said that Ryan Tannehill loves throwing to his slot wide receivers constantly. That's why A.J. Brown made his living. That's why, Jarvis Landry made his living. 1 year, Danny Amendola made his living that way. And I think Kyle Phillips can end up doing that for you. And you have to give up basically nothing for Kyle Phillips for the most part here. And I think you could probably get away with giving a very minimal effort to get him. While there are some trades that are like, interesting, but and I'll talk about them right now, like Jalen Warren for Kyle Phillips. It really depends on what you're looking for, what kind of quality depth. I like Jalen Warren from the Steelers, but I'd probably end up holding him just for that reason, just because running backs are hard to come by. But like Mike Gesicki for Kyle Phillips, still probably want to hold Mike Gesicki on that note. So my buy lows aren't really the greatest trades, and there's not a lot of great trades out there for him. But a 2023 third round pick, especially if it's a late third round pick, I'm kind of okay throwing that towards getting Kyle Phillips on my team because I think there's potential for him to do very well. There's no one else on the offense outside of Treylon Burks and Chig that are going to really demonstrate attacking the offense. I think getting that underneath guy like Kyle Phillips on the team will be really good. Hey, Kyle, what's going on? The classic duo. Yes. Well, if we lost Jibs, but he is around somewhere. So, but Kyle Phillips, I think, is a guy that you could probably give up more than likely a 2023 fourth round pick potentially and get him on your team because I think there's potential there. A late 2023 third is probably a better, more realistic option, but throw them later round picks out Kyle Phillips. I think there's potential for him to see a bigger role in this offense coming in 2023. So, well, since I don't have Jibs with me, guys, I'm going to continue with our last and final part of the show tonight, and it's going to be tight end buys. We have both one each. I don't know what Jibs is, so I can't comment on Jibs's buy low, but I will give mine in the meantime. My buy low is Cade Otton, wide receiver, tight end out of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He is my dynasty buy low tight end right now because the way I see it, a lot of these young tight ends have kind of flashed that people want to buy them, like Daniel Bellinger, Chig, Greg Dulcich. Some of these guys really stepped up this rookie season, and people are they're really out there trying to acquire them. And no one's really talking about Cade Otton, obviously because Tom Brady had left the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, so no one really is looking at offense as a real potential for anything. Though as a rookie, he did have 65 targets, which is pretty impressive, I think, for the most part. He ran the 7th most routes. He had the 5th most red zone targets, unfortunately only having 2 TDs, which suck. But think of it like this. Tom Brady is going to be gone from this team here now. And what did Tom Brady do a lot of this year? He threw it to a lot of his running backs. Rashad White, Leonard Fournette both had a lot of targets this coming year. I don't see that in the new quarterback they're going to bring in is going to probably dump it off as much, especially because more than likely they're going to use their legs a little bit more than 46-year-old Tom Brady could and actually get scrambled out of the pocket. We don't know who that is yet, but likely there's going to be someone there who can kind of move a little bit more and give him more time in the pocket there. And I think Cade Otton will be either a rookie best friend, a young quarterback's best friend, and continue to thrive in this offense here as guys like Mike Evans gets older. Chris Godwin is starting to creep into that older age, and they don't really have a run game. I like White a lot, but I just don't see him being a guy who ends up being a 290 carry running back. So they're going to have to throw the ball probably a little bit more this coming season, even though Brady threw the ball a ton, but I expect it to be a little bit more towards a guy like Cade Otton, a young tight end who I think will develop into a really good tight end. This class here, I think is in this class, the 2022 and 2023 class are going to be a really great class altogether. Yes, Kyle, the classic duo disappeared. Jibs had some mic issues, but I am finishing the show off on my own. So, but Cade Otton, definitely willing to buy low on him now. Some trades that I did find on Cade Otton, Elijah Moore for Cade Otton. I still might want to hold on to Elijah Moore just because I want to wait to see if Aaron Rodgers ends up showing up on that team, because obviously it's not Derek Carr now. Maybe it's Jimmy G. I'd still want to hold off slight hope because I love Elijah Moore's talent. A 2023 third and 4th round pick for Cade Otton. Yeah, I'm willing to do something like that, especially if I don't have a tight end on my team, whether it's tight end premium or not. I think he's a good young tight end that's going to develop really well in this league. Chase Claypool for Cade Otton. I might consider that. Chase Claypool really flashed as a rookie, but I just don't see where his potential is over the next few seasons in this Bears offense to really take that next level. So, give me, Kate Auden, who's a young tight end, I think will fit very well in this league over Chase Claypool's inability to, see consistency on offense. And then finally, a 2024 fourth for Kate Auden. It's a smash hit. No effing way. So, no freaking way. I'm sorry. So, hey, you're back, Jibs.
Can you hear me?
Oh, I hear you now, my friend.
Okay, I don't know what the hell happened, but to finish my point, also looking at Rashid Shaheed on the Saints, like if based off my thoughts, if Michael Thomas doesn't come back, there's this Chris Olave out there on the roster right now. They have Traquan Smith, Deontay Hardy, Keith Kirkwood, Keith Merritt, Kawan Baker. No names. At least we saw Shaheed have some small moments last year in the limited role, and if Michael Thomas is gone, you may have a larger role for him, and hypothetically he's probably free or not even worth like a fourth rounder. So like look into him. And for a tight end, right? Tight end,
Yes.
Buy low, Jake Ferguson. Obviously with the reports that Tony Pollard got franchise tagged today, kind of makes me wonder that they're probably not financially sound, and definitely Dalton Schultz is not getting re-signed, so he's probably going to end up walking in free agency. That leaves Peyton Hendershot and Jake Ferguson as the only tight ends on the roster. Historically, Dallas has been a tight end a haven. Like you see tight ends that have good careers over there. Dalton Schultz had like a great 3-year period where he caught the average 94 targets, 66 receptions, 666 yards, and 5 touchdowns since 2022. And I know we saw glimpses of Jake Ferguson and Peyton Hendershot, and I know Jake Ferguson is a 4th-round pick, while Hendershot's like an undrafted free agent. So I kind of think that given the draft capital, he'll have the first nod at the tight end gig. So if we could go into 2023 with Jake Ferguson as a tight end option for Dallas, I think he could be in for a good spot. But obviously we got to see how the role and everything goes. But as a low-hanging tight end who's pretty much on waivers, or they probably got scooped up at the end of the last season, but you probably could talk to a manager or two to see like what you could get off them for him.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really great one to buy into. It might be, again, people might be end up trying to persuade people to buy high on that percentage. But it could end up paying out. We've seen Cowboy tight ends with, it's been some pretty great ones produced, but they usually produce in Dallas. And I don't really see it. I remember a season where the tight end position didn't really produce in Dallas whatsoever. Obviously, we know that Dak Prescott's always loved his tight ends since he's been in the league here. So like both those Cowboy tight ends have a real shot at really stepping up. Jake Ferguson, he was the guy who was the draft capital, so maybe he'll get first dibs at it. The values might have gone up since now. Would you give up late second round pick in tight end premium leagues for Jake Ferguson now?
Oh God,
the 3rd round pick is what I've been seeing prior to this, but with the value going up, it might be worth it. So we'll see.
Man, it might. But you also got to think that you have like 3 stud tight ends in the draft too. that you probably get that same pick for.
That is true. Yes, I probably wouldn't, especially until I find out where their draft is with these tight ends. But overall, maybe a late 3rd round pick for him is a pretty good value overall. I don't see. An aging player that you could kind of get off your team. You might be to get like a Chase. I think Chase Edmonds was on one of the trades for him and Jake Ferguson. Something like that. Grab a player, throw a player that maybe has some value, maybe still, but doesn't really have big value. Could be a good play to get a guy like Jake Ferguson on your team. So I love that, Jibs. That's a good one too. I like Jake Ferguson a lot. I'm hoping him or Peyton end up doing something in there. So because I have a lot of shares of these
and not splitting the work either.
I hope not. So, but that is actually going to wrap up our show tonight. You went through your tight ends. I went through mine. We went through wide receivers today, guys. A lot of great things here overall. And a couple things. Actually, Jibs, I'll let you go first. Anything you want to mention before we wrap tonight's show up?
Oh, Lord. No, I'm good, sir.
He's good. All right. Love to hear that.
New headset.
New headset. We need to get you a new headset. Yeah, we gotta dip into the business funds. So just a couple things I want to go through us real quick before we do let go tonight, guys. Thank you, Kyle, as always, telling us we did a great job. Thanks for always tuning in, my friend. Love it. I have to get you back on soon. we will have a Thursday night show this week, guys. We're going to have a guest on from Dynasty Nerds who went to the NFL Combine. He's going to give us some risers, maybe some fallers for the rookies in this coming draft here. We'll obviously be back next Monday. And, Geno Smith just got locked up, I think. If I could pull it up. Let's see. Yes. I don't know the details yet, but Seattle and Geno Smith have finalized a new multi-year contract to be the quarterback for the Seattle Seahawks.
Okay, Geno.
Quick reaction. What you got?
Geno, my man, you did good last year. I hope you can replicate your success. I'll be drafting you at the end of late rounds in redraft leagues this summer. But kudos to Geno for real though, because like his career has been like a tornado in the sense like being drafted by the Jets, then going place to place, being back up, and finally getting his chance and performing. So, and it makes Lockett and Metcalf lovely for next year.
Bravo. Never thought we'd be so excited for Geno Smith news now. Not at all. But this does bold the question. Now, he did really well one season. I'll give him that. Really good season. Worth the comeback player of the year. The guy there. But is it a good time now to sell off on Geno Smith? And now that we know that he's going to be with Seattle the next few years, like, are you willing to, if you could get a first-round pick, a late first-round pick in Superflex leagues for Geno Smith right now, are you doing that?
Thank you for your services, Geno. You've done well. He's gone. You
I
send me that first round pick.
I think I want to maybe like try to get a first and a third and try to be greedy, but like a late first round pick for Geno Smith right now, I don't think his ceiling gets higher. He did great last year. He's probably going to be a solid QB2 for fantasy. But with Kenneth Walker likely to take a bigger role probably in that offense. Maybe Geno Smith. It's a 3-year, $105 million extension. Wow. Interesting. Good for him. But it might be a really good time to sell off on Geno. He's with Seattle the next 3 years. We don't know if he's going to continue to have that big spark, but I mean, it's a good time to sell high on Geno. Now it's the time. Sell high on Geno Smith. If someone's buying into that comeback of his career, good time to sell now. So, but just to finish off the show here for us tonight, guys, of course, like I said, we'll have that Thursday show this week. We'll be back next Monday with a mock draft show, startup mock draft show. That's going to be a lot of fun. And then obviously we're going to get into a bunch of, free agency stuff over the next month and eventually the rookies in April. So until then, guys, always please go follow us on Twitter at Coaches Fantasy. Please go follow us on YouTube or subscribe to us on YouTube at the Fantasy Coaches. Hit us up over on Instagram as well at the Fantasy Coaches. I'm trying to think out where else we may be. We don't have a website anymore, guys. If you were looking for our website, we do not have that anymore. We kind of scratched that from the show. We're going to try to do more videos and live shows into that nature as well. So that's the direction that we're kind of moving towards here at the Fantasy Coaches. I'm going to try to get us on more social media platforms, but we are not working on our website at this time, unfortunately. But we're going to always continue to provide you guys with fantastic content. So I'll be back on Thursday, guys, but we'll be back as a crew on Monday for our next show. Until then, guys, thanks for listening and have a good one.